Hello everyone and welcome back. Wow, let's start that again. Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Shannon and this is Made by Boo, my little area where I talk about whatever I'm working on. Most of the time it is knit and crochet. Occasionally I have other things, including today. Today I have a little bit of cross stitch to talk about as well. So I am recording on September 8th. I'm recording in the evening. Usually I try to record on Saturdays, but my weekend schedule is just looking a little bit different, so figured I'd go ahead and record after work so that I still get to record and talk about everything, because I have worked on a few things and I want to talk about it. So let's go ahead and get into it. First of all, last time I was talking a little bit about trying to adjust my process. I like to think that I'm a process knitter, but I know that I'm very much also a product. I like to have something finished, and especially as I get busy with other things or want to do some gift knitting and things like that, there's definitely that little part of me that, well, maybe not little part of me, but that wants to see these things get finished, that they start to feel overwhelming and then you don't know where to start, you don't know which one to work on when, and it starts to become a little bit less fun. So I decided to try a rotation process with my crafting in these last 2 weeks. So I had 4 main projects that I was working on with 2 little like side projects, and I just went day by day where I worked on a sweater one day. I had a project for one of my daughters that I finished. I won't be showing it today because I started it and finished it in this time, and it was a huge pillow. It would not fit on the camera. Anyway, so I'd work on the sweater, then the project for her, then a shirt I was working on, and then my data blanket, and then start over. And it wasn't like the sweater was always going to be on Mondays. It was just that rotating through. And then my 2 side projects I was fitting in on the weekend. I wasn't sure if I would like this. You'll see I did manage to make some progress, including starting and finishing a pillow for my daughter. It was made with 4 balls of Bernay blanket yarn. So it was a huge pillow. But this process, I was able to have time to do it, and I actually didn't feel stressed about whether or not I was finishing the other things. I do think that there's a little bit of tinkering I can still do, and I can talk a little bit more about that after I talk about what I did and the progress I made on everything. So the first project that I have accessible is a pair of socks. These were not technically a part of the rotation because these were in my car. So these are a pair of Regia Perfect in the color 09137. So I guess that color is mostly useful if you're actually going to go and order them. This was the first sock already finished, and these were a gift for my mother. And when we last spoke 2 weeks ago, I was right here. And now I am all the way here. So if you have never done Regia Perfect, it is a way of making 2 identical socks that, these ones kind of have a Fair Isle look, and you do your ribbing until the color changes, and then do your leg until the color changes for the heel, and then do your foot until either the color changes or your size. So like you can have a whole bunch of this. In this one it's a pale yellow or just a little bit depending on your shoe size. Making these for my mother. I will be switching them right as the color changes. So all I have left to do is the toe on these. And And then I will block them, and I may mail them off. You may never actually see this pair completely finished. I may hang on to them until the next time I see her, because it's not going to be that long, but long enough that it might get cold, and then she doesn't have to carry a gift home with her. All of these little stitch markers, they were just kind of for me marking how much I got done each individual day. So these have been in my car. I'll work on them a little bit before work, things like that. So, like, you know, that's how much I got done today. Just a little bit the day before. This day I got through like half a heel. So those stitch markers, they're not really marking how long the foot is. So yeah, these ones are almost done. Just a little toe and some blocking, and then they will be ready to send on. I did enjoy doing the Regia Perfect. I think the only problem I really have with doing them is that they are finish one sock and then do the other. I have another ball of Regia Perfect. When I choose to do it, I may actually split it into 2 balls because I really do like working my socks in tandem. And who knows, maybe that pair will be the one where I finally decide to try 2 at a time on Magic Loop. It's one of those things I'd love to try, but I'm a little bit nervous about yarn management, and as socks are very frequently car knitting for me, that's yarn management in a small space, so we'll see. The next project that I have real close was in the rotation. This is the Panopeia shirt. I know I might be saying that wrong. It is a pattern from Expression Fiber Arts. The yarn is also from Expression Fiber Arts. It is the color Silvery Seas in Luster Sport, so that's a 50% superwash merino wool, 50% lyocell. It says a US size 3 to 5 hook, D to F. I'm never quite positive on what size. Oh, never mind. Luster Sport. It's a sport weight. So this shirt I have been working sort of in tandem. It is a front and back that are worked very, very similar. And I am almost done with the other side. I genuinely don't know if this is the front or the back yet. I guess we'll see which one looks better. So when we last spoke, let's see if I can get that. I was all the way down there, and now I am way up at the top. So this pattern has stockinette at the bottom, and then you get up to the top, and it's a lace pattern. It is a paid-for pattern, so, you know, details are a little sparse here. This is my second side, though. I have done the stockinette on the first side, and I think I have like 6 more rows on this side until I'll be starting the lace, and then I'll do the lace on one side, lace on the other, and then finish everything. So this one got a lot of work, and a large part of that is when this one fell in the rotation. It happened to be about a week ago on a Saturday, and my husband really wanted to watch the Dungeons and Dragons movie that is now out. I believe it was on Amazon Prime. But we just sat down and we watched it, and it was in the living room, so I didn't have to feel bad about bothering anybody. I don't usually take knitting to the movies or anything like that with me. Partially because I don't want to bother people, but largely because a lot of the time when I go to the movies, it's either date night, just me and my husband, and I don't think about it, or I'm going out to the movies with my kids, where even just stockinette in the round or something like that is going to be a little much. But yeah, I got a whole bunch of this done just because it happened to fall on movie night. That luck did not fall on everything. So, for example, I'm not going to bother showing my data blanket because in spite of the fact that it was in the rotation, it got some, but it did not get as much work as I would have liked. So yeah, a little bit of a success as far as putting things in a rotation. The next project I have is also a bit of a success as far as this rotation goes. I will turn it the other side around. So this is the, I still am not sure how to say it, I believe Gorm sweater, G-O-R-M. It is a free pattern, I believe, from Hobbii Yarn. And I am making it using yarn that's just out of reach. Fisherman's wool in the color Nature's Brown. So this is from Lion Brand Yarn. And this is a gift pattern, so, you know, some details will not necessarily be shared. But it is a sweater that is knit bottom up, so I'm doing a huge chunk of stockinette in the round. And I've got this little cute T-Rex down here at the bottom. That is where we were last time. And then, kind of like my socks, I just put little stitch markers that showed me how much I was able to do each time this came up in the rotation. This one I don't believe came up in the rotation at all on a weekend. So this was just little bits of knitting after I got home from work. No! Okay, I thought I dropped a stitch. I just dropped a stitch stopper, which is not great, but not as bad as dropping stitches. So yeah, I mean, it made some progress, and it gave me, this is dark brown, stockinette in the round, so it's not the most exciting thing, but it is also a gift for someone who I know will really and truly enjoy it when they get it. And I would like to have it done for Christmas, so success in the rotation. All right, hopefully everything is looking good on there. Everything's a little bit crazier here as I am recording in the evening. It seemed like a really good time to try a slightly different light setup to prepare for winter. However, it also means that my plugs are all weird. My screen where I can see what I'm doing is a little bit wonky and not really wanting to work, so this one may come out a little rough. But things that were not coming out rough is a lot of these rotation projects. So this one was not on my rotation. This one was one of my weekend projects. This is my Advertence shawl. It is a year-long mystery knit-along from Expression Fiber Arts, and I have been using yarn from So Happy Jane that I receive in my hand-dyed Happy Yarn Club. So the colors that I've been receiving have been a little bit random. I've talked about it a few times where I've definitely determined that if I ever did a project like this again, I would not let the colors be random. I'd probably go with the suggested colors because while it is like beautiful and it will be unique, some of the contrasts were not quite as strong as I think they could have been. So it definitely would have been at least a more cohesive and strong contrast had I gone with their recommended colors. But no one else will have this one, so I guess there's that. So using this was just a little bit of weekend knitting where, projects would come up in the rotation and I would work on those, like say hanging out with my kids, sitting around talking. And then when I was studying or it was just me by myself, this project would be what I would work on. Because with the mosaic knitting, the pattern is just a little bit more complex and I like to be able to focus. So I am actually in the middle of completing June. I know it is September. It's a problem. June it is a free pattern. June had 66 total rows in the pattern. I have now completed, I believe, 42. I think I'm just like 2 rows away from completing the second pattern repeat, and then I'll have one more pattern repeat. So it was not a huge amount of progress in the last 2 weeks, but considering in the months before I made 0 progress, I'm counting it as pretty huge. And I'm hoping that this rotation helps encourage me to work on it again because I really do want to see it finished. The other project that was in my weekend rotation, I have a cross-stitch project that I want to complete and have available to hang above my desk when I'm done with all my studying and my new certification. Oh, sorry, I think I'm getting fuzz everywhere. And I have all my threads set aside. I have the pattern purchased from Etsy, and I figured work on my mystery shawl on Sundays and my cross stitch on Saturdays, and I will get through both of them. Cross stitch is very similar to me as the mosaic knitting and any other color work or anything where I feel like I have to really focus on it. So I like it, but I tend to not do it. While I was searching for fabric, I found... I did not think that thread was attached. Sorry, I don't have a needle minder in this. So this was a bookmark. I got the pattern off of Pinterest, I think. It was just a free download. I have no idea where it was. I started this bookmark probably at least 6 years ago. And at the time, I had these 3 leaves, none of the outline, but just those 3 leaves done, and that was it. And then I just put it down. So I decided while I was waiting to get more cross-stitch fabric, which I happen to be out of, I would finish this bookmark. And I have 2 leaves done, and then I just need to finish the outline on these 2. And then I'm thinking I will probably just kind of give it like a basic piece of felt as a backing, just so that all these stitches are nice and protected. And it'll be done. I have no idea what I'll do with it. I don't use fabric bookmarks like this for very many things. But it's still so pretty and very, very fall, which I love fall. I love Halloween. I am ready for all of that crunchy leaves and everything. I park under a tree near my work that the leaves have started to fall on my windshield as I'm knitting my socks in the morning, and it's amazing. So I am definitely enjoying this. It is one of the projects that I am thinking will change in my rotation, where instead of being a Saturday only project, I'm thinking I may make my data blanket the Saturday project, the Advertence the Sunday project, and cross stitch, rotate, put into the rotation until I finish the other project at least. I have a whole bunch of cross stitch kits that I absolutely love and I haven't done anything with. So maybe it'll stay in the rotation. I don't know. But I was enjoying doing cross stitch again. It's been a little while. One of the last times I did cross stitch, I was sitting in a hospital waiting for somebody for an extended period of time and got a huge chunk done. So maybe that kind of soured me on cross stitch for a little while. I'm not sure, but this one's fun. I'm looking forward to the next one, and maybe if I put it in the rotation, I can enjoy a craft that I sometimes neglect again. Like, I enjoy doing it, and yet I'm not. So why not make time for it? The last work in progress I have for right now, I've got my little yarn labels over here. So this one, I actually just started it maybe an hour ago. And it is going in the rotation to replace the pillow I made for one child. And this is going to be a blanket for another one. Pardon the interruption. The puppy needed to be let in the room. She does not seem to want to be on camera. We shall see. Come here, Lucy. Come here. Oh, yeah, you've changed your mind. You want to sit up with me? Oh, there's the puppy. Yeah. Who's a good girl? All right, Lucy, you ready? Yeah. So, the blanket that I'm working on, it is using Caron Colorama Halo. I had 4 of the Ogo style sitting in stash, so using up yarn that's been taking up space. These are in the color, is it written on this? Oh, it's got 2 different tags because it's Ogo. Graphite Frost. So this is going to be a super, super simple project. I am planning on basically using all 4 of the ones that I have in this color. It's a nice little gradient from white all the way to a, maybe a medium gray. And this is just going to be a blanket for my middle daughter. She is always cold, loves a blanket. I made a shawl for my youngest for something cozy out of very similar yarn. It's technically the same yarn, but not in the Ogo. And she was like, well, it's pretty cozy, but she wanted something bigger and even that she could wrap around sitting at her desk on her computer or on her lap or laying down or anything. So it is going to just be a gigantic solid granny square. It's going to go from the white to the gray, back to the white, basically until I run out. I've got 4 of these, so we'll just see how big it can go. And it's a nice, simple, not quite mindless, because, I mean, even with a mindless project, you can still mess up, so I don't totally like to think of them as mindless, but it's just double crochets in a granny square, super simple, not even doing clusters, so I don't totally have to worry about, oh, well, did I do 2 double crochets in this cluster that's supposed to be 3, and doing it as a solid granny square will make it just a little bit less breezy. Who's a good girl? So that is all of my works in progress. I do have a couple of plans. I do not have the pattern or anything for the cross stitch I'm planning on starting after the bookmark, but I do have 2 very soon to be cast on projects. Sorry, with the lighting, everything's different, so hopefully you like the top of my head today. I have these 2 balls of yarn caked up. This is from Hobbie's Halloween Sock Wool Glitter from last year. I believe they're going to be coming out with their Halloween line again this year. This one was color 2. I don't remember what color it was, and I can't look it up until they come out again. And I honestly don't know if this one will come back out, but the leaves are starting to fall. I'm definitely getting into that fall spirit, and I, again, love Halloween. I wanted these nice spooky vibes with the slimy green, the 2 different shades of witchy purple. They're just going to be a pair of vanilla self-striping socks. I took the 1 ball of yarn that it came in and split it into 2 cakes so that I could do my socks in tandem as car knitting. I'm kind of planning on doing them on double pointed needles and just going back and forth. Who knows, maybe I'll change my mind. The other project, I don't know if I'm going to cast this on tonight or tomorrow, but I am planning on starting another Mussleburgh. This is using Evergreen Yarn Studios yarn in their Summit Sock. So that's an 85% extra fine superwash merino, 15% nylon. This is the color Trick or Treat. You may notice this is not a beautiful cake of yarn. I did recently get a new yarn ball winder, and I feel like I'm still working out the kinks, so I had taken it out of the hank and was going to have it in a cake ready to cast on the Mussleburgh, and it was a mess. I honestly don't know what it is. It is a slightly different style ball winder. I've watched tutorials on how to use ball winders like this. They don't seem to be any different than my old one. But for some reason, every now and then, I'll lose the middle string completely from it. Like, it's got a little place to put it and it'll disappear. It'll be somehow both too tight and too loose at the same time. I'm not giving up on it yet, and I probably will recake this. This one I'm planning on casting on very soon. I know I've talked about before, we live in Idaho, outside of Boise, and one of the random benefits that has come from my job is occasionally we will get free tickets to the Boise State football games, and we happen to get last-minute tickets to the game coming up tomorrow, which is one of the reasons I am recording early. By the time you see this, I will probably have already been to the game because I usually put my videos out on Sunday. But I thought casting on a Mussleburgh, once I get the crown done, it's just stockinette in the round forever. And it would make a great project to take with me to the football game. I am not a huge football fan, but my husband is a huge football fan. So last year we got tickets to go to just one of the games we were able to make it to. I brought a sweater I was working on, and I mean, that one was also just stockinette in the round. Was able to enjoy the game and also hang out with my husband, and he, again, loves football. Neither of us go to Boise State, but we get to go to a football game and enjoy ourselves. So this was something that I'm sure I will show again, but most of the progress will probably only come when I go to the game with my husband, and that is the plan for that one. I mean, it's nice Halloween colors, so you never know. I may end up getting really excited and adding it into the rotation. But for now, the plan for that Mussleburgh is just to be football game knitting. The last upcoming project, this one is a little bit less, cords everywhere. This one is a little bit less definitive as to exactly when I'm going to start it. But this is an advent calendar from last year from Mothy and The Squid. I believe her advent calendars are for sale on her site right now. Obviously, I do not know if these are going to be the colors you get this upcoming year or not. But as I have a few Halloween pre-orders coming in, including an advent calendar, I have a few Christmas advent calendars. There's a part of my brain that desperately wants to finish working up last year's advent calendars. And as you can see, I have not even started working on this one. I had a couple of different patterns that I had originally thought of for this one, and just never quite got started, and I think it was just because they didn't feel right. I'm not going to pull all of these out. Hopefully just a good sample to give you an idea of what it looks like. But as you can see, the colors are very, very bright, very, very vibrant. I've got like a nice full rainbow here. I may end up pulling them all out. And I think what it really just came down to is a lot of the projects that I wanted to work on, these colors are gorgeous, but I don't wear bright colors very often. So my original thought of putting it into a shawl or something like that, it would look gorgeous. But I think I was hesitating starting it because I don't think I'll actually wear it. But what I think I would do is use it as a blanket. So my plan for these is to put it into the Cozy Comfort blanket from a Homespun House. And mostly I'm just kind of bringing it up because I'm still thinking about it with all these colors. I have not decided if I want to put them in the order they came out of the Advent in. Obviously they're mixed up in this bag, but they all still have little numbers on them, so I can put them back in order. I can arrange them into an order I like, which I know me, it'll be a rainbow. Like if I have all the colors of the rainbow available and I'm organizing them, that's going to be my go-to. I could also put them all into the little balls and then just kind of reach in randomly when I need a new one. I really haven't decided, but as I'm currently working on things in a rotation, it doesn't have a spot in the rotation yet. This one may get a spot in the rotation either after the blanket for my daughter or after the Panopeia shirt is empty. I'm not sure. I may shorten the rotation. I may end up scrapping the rotation altogether. But yeah, those are my three most thought about upcoming projects. I do have a couple of acquisitions, not as many as I'm sure are going to be upcoming. So let me go ahead and grab those. They are just out of reach because, again, lights and cords everywhere. I'm working on it. All right, let me start over. So this time around, I only have a couple of things for acquisitions. I know at the beginning of the month, I usually have like my Paradise Fibers, Fiber of the Month. Currently, that is expected to come in the next couple of days, but I'm recording earlier than I normally would, so I'm sure that one we'll see next time. I also, as I mentioned, love Halloween, love fall, and may have gone a little overboard on pre-orders. I've got a couple of Halloween Advent type things and just a Halloween sock set, things like that, that are all expected to start coming in the next couple of weeks. I definitely ordered more than I can work on, but I don't care because, I mean, this is from last year. I'm still going to work on it. Yarn holds. And I love Halloween, so I will work on Halloween projects whenever I feel like it. They can come now. So the one piece of Halloween yarn that has arrived, this I purchased on Etsy, so I will link it down below. I have not purchased from them before. This is Stitchin with Yarn. in the color Spooky Season. So this is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. With everything, with my little viewfinder thing not working quite well, I'm not sure how well this is going to be picking up. This is some nice pumpkin-y oranges, some beautiful purples, and just a whole bunch of speckles all over everything. I mean, it's a sock yarn. I love making socks. This may be a pair of socks. This may just be my friend for a little while. But it was definitely a good start for getting into some of that fall feeling when it arrived, and just looking at these colors and getting excited for the weather to turn a little chilly again. My other two acquisitions, I received 2 books that I had pre-ordered months ago in the mail. One of them is Unicorns, Dragons, and More Fantasy Amigurumi Book 3. So I have the first 2 in this series. I'll flip it over to, I don't know how well the various pictures on the back are going to come up. This is a compilation from many designers, and they always have fantasy creatures. See if I can show a couple of them without showing too much of the patterns. There was one in here I was really excited about. Oh yeah. I definitely have a child who would like a Grim Reaper. And then we have, I mean, look at this dragon. How cute is he? My daughter said he kind of reminds her of the dragon from My Little Pony, but that doesn't mean that's a bad thing. I mean, look at this guy. So yeah, this is a series of books. Various designers make fantasy patterns. I love it. Like, they're adorable. I mean, it's a tiny kraken, including a little boat. Like, love that. So I haven't been doing a lot of amigurumi lately. Part of it was the studying, and I just kind of ended up on a wearables kick. Been kind of getting a little bit of an itch to make some toys again, which is good because I got another one in that was toys. This is Crochet Impkins by Megan Lapp. And this is kind of a, I honestly had no idea what it was when I put in the pre-order. I just, like, I loved that guy in his jaunty little top hat. Loved the little mushroom guy. One of my children actually loves little mushroom features and creatures and things. And so I was sold and pre-ordered. It's kind of a mix and match book. Let me see if I can find one of the pages. Where they go through and, I mean, this is not what the page I was looking for, but look at him. So cute. They give you little body styles, and then you pick the body style. And then you go through and you pick, see if I can find the next one. Oh, here's a whole bunch of ear options. And I know I just saw another one. Little things that you can do to the faces. So you kind of mix and match the different features so that you have hats and bodies and wings and so many different things. Hairstyles. I'm blanking on words. But you basically are able to create your own. I have a couple other books that are similar. Some of the features of the other books I do like a little more than this one. Oh, here's a page of the tails. But because you have all these different options, like, it's not just make these 3 guys and then a collection of others. Here's some of the suggestions on the back as well. I don't know how well any of this is coming up. Again, my screen is just not working properly right now. But yeah, it's a whole bunch of mix and match and make your own, and it's really just making me want to make some toys again. I'm not exactly sure which one I'd even go with first, and I clearly, as I have to come up with a system to get through some of these projects right now, I clearly don't have time to just do anything, but it's supposed to be fun, so who knows when I'll actually cast on and when I won't. So that, I think, is about all I have as far as making and everything. I am very close to finishing all of my schoolwork. I've been studying really hard to take my certification test. I am trying to get through a lot of other projects, partially because I really love doing them, partially to share them with you and share in the joy of making things. As I mentioned, we are going to the Boise State football game tomorrow, so that'll be on September 9th. Again, by the time this comes out, we will have probably already been at the football game. And I'll be working on my projects there. We may go to another couple football games over the year. It'll just kind of depend on when they have tickets available and if that meshes with our schedule. We're also planning on trying to get a little bit more time outside. I have a kayak that I like to take out on a nearby lake and just have a few minutes of peace and quiet. And as much as I love when the weather starts to turn, that lake does freeze over completely. So the kayak doesn't work the same if I'm paddling on ice. As funny as I'm sure that would be for anybody else out there to watch me try, I gotta enjoy it while I can. Yeah, that is about all. I've got so many projects that I want to work on. And so hopefully when I come back in a couple weeks, I will be sharing the joy of everything that I have finished, everything that I'm starting, and just really enjoying the making process. If not, maybe we'll be talking about how I'm going to be planning to try to bring that joy into everything. Until then, I hope everyone is enjoying their making and allowing the joy to be a part of their process.